Today, I'm going to introduce you to 3 new announcements in the Android industry that you'll need to know to stay on top of what will soon be hitting the shelves and pockets of consumers and the IDEs of engineers. Let's go. Hello everyone, thank you for joining me for today's Thoughtful episode. My name is Oliver Sprint. If this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. Every week I give you seasoned advice on how to build professional Android apps in bite-sized chunks. I invite you to subscribe to stay abreast of the latest pro tips. When you build applications on cutting-edge platforms like Android, change is inevitably constant. An application that was thought of as innovative and exciting as little as 2 or 3 years ago would likely be considered stale and outdated by today's standards. That's because both the hardware and software industries move so quickly. We've had new form factors like foldable devices that have been on the market for a few years, but that's just the beginning of a new revolution of modalities. Hardware manufacturers are looking to take this idea to the next level, and they aren't shy about sharing their aspirations. The operating system and app ecosystems have no choice but to catch up or fade into obscurity. Perhaps it seems like foldable phones have just hit the market, so to discuss even more build types that are in the works could feel a bit overwhelming. Thankfully, these new modalities are just an extension of existing ones. Most of us are probably familiar with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold series of devices. Now, Samsung is allowing these devices to finally live up to their name. The manufacturer has recently been awarded a patent for a tri-fold screen. One would fold inward, like today's foldables, and another would fold outward, allowing the device to collapse like the letter Z. Is this what Samsung's branding has been telling us since day one? Who knows? While there's certainly plenty of room for speculation to run rampant, the Korean smartphone manufacturer has already made good on its word by demonstrating an early prototype of its device in August of 2021. This kind of form factor certainly blurs the line between what could be considered a phone in its smallest posture and a tablet when fully unfurled. Microsoft has also obtained a patent that could pave the way for the Microsoft Surface Trio. As of today, Google is still working on getting version 12 of their flagship operating system fully out to consumers. Android 12L is still in beta, but that hasn't stopped them from working hard on Android 13. Since there haven't been any official announcements, we don't yet know the full scope of improvements, but there is one significant change that developers will need to be aware of. Reminiscent to iOS's practices, Android will start transitioning notifications to an opt-in process with a new permission. If the leaks are correct and remained unchanged, developers will need to request the post notifications permission and gain approval from the user before sending out those friendly nudges. This takes the existing permission model of neatly categorizing and naming each of your notification channels to the next level. Up to this point, users could only retroactively shut off notification channels after at least one relevant notification had been posted there. Now this becomes a proactive process that your app will need to account for. Time will tell how Google intends for that to work from a developer standpoint. The next iteration of Android Studio recently hit the beta channel, so the improvements it will ship with are due to land very soon. It's called Android Studio Chipmunk and has been named in honor of our favorite North American rodent. If you ventured into this preview build, you may have noticed one particular feature that has stolen this release's limelight. The Android Gradle plugin will soon ship with a new feature called Gradle Managed Devices, which allows you to define and create a complete emulator from your build.gradle file. You can specify the hardware profile, the API level, whether or not to include the Google Play Store, and even the ABI type for the best compatibility with your host machine. You get a new Gradle task from this configuration that allows you to target running UI tests on that particular emulator. Google doesn't stop there. You can group multiple devices together and run tests on them as a collective unit. They even offer optimized build types that are designed to reduce the burden on your CPU by stripping out non-essential components. The choice of whether to use these new lightweight images is up to you. You still have access to the complete OS images as part of this new initiative. There is also forthcoming first-class support for test sharding. Now you can parallelize your UI tests to get your automation suite running more quickly. To top this all off, Google also offers headless emulators that allow you to run your tests in an environment that doesn't have a display, such as on a CI runner. This is my first discussion on the future of Android in 2022, My previous one was towards the end of 2021, and I thought back then that I was rather thorough in my coverage. However, the industry has been moving so quickly, it seemed fitting to revisit this topic only a few months later. These changes are certainly something I'm looking forward to embracing and seeing hit the shelves. They are incremental improvements to the kinds of things we've already been doing. Yet, as with any change, having proper advance notice makes the adoption easier when the time is right to pick them up. With those things in mind, by the time Android 13, an updated IDE, and trifold screens hit the market, you already know what to do. That's all the more that I have for you today. If you found this content helpful and haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so. I have new content every Monday at noon, exclusively on Android. I hope to see you next time on ThoughtFuel. Thanks, and happy coding.